What's going on this morning, guys? Out on the 1290 Super Adventure. Got something kind of fun planned for this morning. So it's a nice spring day. I still haven't fixed that clock on my bike. I need to do that. It's almost 8:30. I'm on my way into Martinsburg, West Virginia. Working from home today, but work's well aware that I won't be logging on until a little bit later because I'm headed into the radio station. I was contacted by Rob Mario. Yes, his last name is the same as my first name. Actually been on with him in the past to help promote shows and stuff, charity events, that sort of thing. But anyway, he hit me up. I'm going in this morning to talk about my book, Motorcyclist Guide to Travel. Just do a little promotion on it, have a little bit of fun on the radio, hopefully be able to share some motorcycle stories. And hopefully they're going to let me set a camera up in there. They're usually pretty good about getting me the audio after an interview so I can use it. But I'd love to set my camera up so I can share a little bit of the interview with you guys. And hopefully it'll be kind of a fun morning. Holy crap. Look at how many little stick figures are on the back of that window. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Jeez. Anyway, checking the GPS here. I know how to get to the station, but I just like having that little countdown to let me know if I'm running on time. Plus, if a road is kind of jacked up, it'll give me a quicker route to avoid traffic. Anyway, looking at it, looks like I'm going to arrive about 11 minutes before I'm supposed to go on air. And if you think that's running it close, I used to think that way, and I would show up a half hour or so before radio or TV interviews, only to find out all you're going to do is sit there in the waiting area, and they're going to call you in somewhere between 1 and 2 minutes before you go on air while they're at commercial break. So I'm actually probably still arriving just a little bit too early. Gonna be a little tight. And the hell with it.
Motorcyclist Guide to Travel.
I'm David, by the way.
Morning.
Nice to meet you too.
First time you're in two Marios.
More Marios, the better.
That's right.
The book I have in my hand, try to get that on camera there so we can get Mario a little publicity there. Mario Orsini and a Motorcyclist's Guide to Travel. Most of us around here know Mario Orsini as a magician extraordinaire. You go by magician or illusionist more, Mario?
Probably illusionist, but that's just so we don't have... How do I want to say this? Magician sometimes has a negative connotation.
Oh, really?
So
I did not know that.
Well, there's a couple of reasons we came up with it. Number one, I'd introduce myself as a magician, and then people would go, "That's great. What type of instrument do you play?" And then it was kind of awkward to go, "No, I said magician," and that sort of thing. And then illusionist just means... Lots of times when people think magician, they think kids magician, party magician, that type of thing. And it's never really been my thing. I've always done more like stage performance, corporate events, those sorts of things. So we really just started using illusionist so people didn't get confused.
Mario, tell me about this Motorcyclist's Guide to Travel. This is pretty fascinating stuff.
Well, it was something that took me a few months to write. And I've been into motorcycles since I was a little kid. I started out on a mini bike and worked my way up. And I've probably been riding on the street nearly 30 years, but nearly 20 years now, and I've been riding for nearly 30 years. And when I was a kid growing up, I had some uncles, and my grandfather traveled all around the country on their bikes. It was something I always wanted to do. So a few years ago, I finally, you get busy with the day-to-day, and it's tough to get a week or two that you can actually just go ride and go see places. So I just made it a goal, and I said, these are the days I'm going to go, and no questions about it, no excuses, I'm going to go. So I've been doing that the last few years. The last 3 or 4 years, it's been every year there's at least a 10 day to 2 week long trip that we go on. It's usually just me and my girlfriend. Sometimes we'll have some other friends come along, and then we'll have a 4 or 5 day trip and plenty of overnight trips. So it's really become like my favorite thing to do is just hop on the bike and go ride to different places. So it started out as a website. I came up with a website, twowheeledrider.com, is just a place to share our travel stories with friends and family and people that were wanting to check in to see where we've been. So, I'd write and I'd post some photos. And then probably about a year and a half ago, I thought, this writing takes a long time. Maybe I'll just make videos instead. So with one GoPro and this little Canon camera, we traveled out to the Grand Canyon and made like 10 videos about it over the course of 10 days. They were all like 5-6 minute long videos. So then I started just doing this all the time, making videos about my travel trips and other things motorcycle related. And I started getting emails from people all over the world, really, going, hey, how do you plan for this? Or how did you find out about this place? Or is this a good bike to do this sort of thing? So I really just started noticing we were getting the same questions over and over through email. And to my knowledge, there's not really another book like this out on the market. There's some things similar. So I just thought, well, I'll write these ideas down. And before I knew it, I've got 40,000 words and decided to put this out as a book.
When did it get published?
It came out March 16th was the day it was first available on Amazon. I was probably done writing it around the end of January, and then it went through a few different editing phases, both editing like the content of the book and errors and that sort of thing, all the way down to getting proof copies back from the publisher to make sure that everything was formatted properly and that sort of thing. In fact, the funny thing is, other people actually got copies of my final book before I ever saw it.
Oh,
I
really?
approved everything. It was available quicker than it was supposed to be, and some people found it. Hey, you wrote a book. I just ordered it, and they had it. With Amazon Prime, you can get that thing next day or 2 day. And they were getting them on like Friday, and I didn't see any copies until like the following Tuesday. So,
are you getting a good audience online around the country?
I am. So, funny thing is, we just flew down to Florida this past weekend. My girlfriend's grandmother turned 90, so we went down for her birthday. And one of the guys we only know each other. He's watched my videos on YouTube, and he bought a copy of the book. And I had mentioned, he said, hey, let me know if you're ever coming to Florida. And I said, well, I'm coming down this weekend. So we actually met him and his fiance for dinner, signed a copy of his book, and he let me take his bike out for a ride.
Nice.
And so, yeah, there is a following throughout the country right now. It's kind of crazy. This time last year, I think I had 300 subscribers on YouTube. And this morning it was like 1,700 and some, and gained about 1,000 since the beginning of this year.
Nice.
So, and the cool thing, they're all motorcycle guys.
Yeah.
So,
and why would they go to the website? What were they looking for? Like destinations that you've been to? That kind of thing?
Motorcycle how-to videos. I work on a bunch of different bikes, so I'll get emails. You guys got a problem with this? I'm not a mechanic, but I've been working on these things a long time. So, and then other people were wanting to know, hey, how do you even? A lot of people just don't know how to plan a trip. There are companies that you can hire, and they'll rent you a bike, and you follow somebody around on a pre-planned trip, and that's fine for some people. For me, planning the trip is part of the fun. The whole process of it, sitting down and trying to plot points on a map to have it's not just, I want to go to such and such. And that may be, like, you may pick out, well, I want to go to the Grand Canyon. Well, that's fine, but it's going to take you about 4 days, 5 days to get out there. So what are you going to do in the meantime to make this trip fun? Because
isn't that a long time on a motorcycle?
Well, you would think, but last year I actually rode.
I'm just thinking of the physical part of it.
Well, that was a lot easier than when I rode down to Key West last year. I rode 1,270 miles in a little under 21 hours.
Oh, my.
That, on the physical side, is pretty tough. But no, Grand Canyon, it's like 500-mile days, maybe mixed in with some 300-mile days. And you're on the bike a good bit of the day, but you got plenty of time to hop off and, have some fun, stretch your legs, go see some cool things. And you'd be surprised how the right type of motorcycle, how comfortable the right type of motorcycle is. We always get the question of, hey, is your butt sore? And, I mean, that's just something we get everywhere. You pull into Kansas or whatever, and you got a West Virginia plate, and somebody's asking if your butt sore. And to be honest, very, very seldom does that happen. It's normally your knees or something else, or shoulders or something to start to get a little tight before.
I've been thinking about getting me a big motorcycle and riding it around because it looks like fun, but I've never done it before. Is there any such thing as like you get too old and you shouldn't do it?
No. I don't want to say there's. Well, I read an article about a guy the other day that was riding 15,000 miles a year on a dirt bike, and the guy's 90 years old. So nice. I don't know that there ever is a too old.
I like that.
You got time.
Yeah, I could wait a few years.
Mario, in your book, it says you enjoy popping in on TV, movie sites, and filming locations, and you cite the fact that you've been to the Field of Dreams baseball field in Iowa, the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop from Pawn Stars, which I watch regularly, and the Shawshank Prison, Ohio State Reformatory.
Yep. Yep.
That's some pretty interesting stuff there. Tell me about your trip to the Field of Dreams baseball field.
So that was pretty cool. That was coming back home on last year's trip that we rode out to Yellowstone. And it had been something that I always wanted to go check out, but I didn't know if it was really worth the, God, I don't remember how far it is one way there, like maybe 800 miles or something from here. But I had it plotted out, and it couldn't have been more perfect of a day to stop in there. So, you know, everybody's seen that movie, I feel like, and you show up, and it's exactly like it was on the movie. There's nothing where you show up and you're, I'm disappointed.
You sit there and wait for shoeless Joe Jackson to come out of the cornfield.
Well, the cool thing is, so when you go in the summer, the corn is still up. So you get to walk into the cornfield. And I don't want to share with you exactly what happens when you walk into the cornfield, but I've done it. And it's something that, if you're a fan of that movie, I think everyone should do. And the other cool thing, there was like a busload of people there when we got there. And they all walked out of the cornfield as we were walking up to the field, and that was pretty cool.
Did it freak you out a little?
And we couldn't do this because we were on the bike. Take your bat, take your ball, take your glove. They'll let you play on the field.
No way.
And there's no charge. There's no fee to get in. And, of course, they have memorabilia and stuff that
do they
sell.
stage any baseball games with the old-style uniforms among teams?
So they do from time to time. And the weekend we were there, I guess if there was anything negative to say about, they did have some external bleachers set up because they were playing some. There was a baseball series that was in town, and that was where they were holding the championship game that Sunday. So
cool.
Yeah, they do. It's a real field that they play on. The house is sitting there. I mean, everything's just like you remember in the movie.
Except Amy Madigan wasn't there.
No.
Shawshank Prison?
Shawshank Prison is... I've actually been there twice.
That's in Maine, isn't it?
Well, in the movie it is, but in real life it's in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
It's actually the old Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, West Virginia. Or, I'm sorry, not Mansfield, West Virginia. In the old Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio. And... it's the only difference between it. Is it a tourist attraction now?
It is.
Okay. It is. They give tours, I think, pretty much 365 days out of the year. Now, there's no air conditioning. There's no heating. So, pick the good time of year to go. It is awesome, though. In addition to Shawshank, they've also filmed some Air Force One, the movie there a little bit, and there have been some music videos and that sort of thing. The only difference is the big giant gates that you saw them go through.
Right.
The fence doesn't exist any longer because they were actually going to destroy the entire thing until Preservation Society was like, no, we can't allow this to happen. So the building's still standing.
But it's a tourist attraction because of the movie and the success of the movie over the 25 years it's been out.
Exactly. The first time I visited was during the 20th anniversary, and a lot of the actors and stuff came back for it. And, we went back up again last year or the year before, and it's just as cool going through it the second time as it was.
So why is
it
better going to the Shawshank Prison on a motorcycle than it would be by going in a car?
Well, there's a few things. One, if you're just going to go by car, you're probably going to hop on the interstate and just drone along mile after mile. When you're on the bike, now it opens you up to taking the fun mountain roads and the back roads and stuff.
Okay.
And if you get stuck
and
behind...
And what you do is you help them plot out those back roads.
Yep.
How to get there. Okay.
Yeah, back roads, state roads. If you don't have to worry about getting stuck behind the guy on the tractor because all you got to do is flick your wrist on the bike and it'll go right around where, your station wagon may not make it. So... it's a lot more fun.
Hey, I don't drive a station wagon. Be easy.
Anymore.
But then the other cool thing is there's a lot of other sites like around the prison there where they filmed the movie. So being able to have the freedom to ride around on the bike and, you can set it right along. It's a whole lot easier to pull off to the side of the road on a motorcycle than a car or something too. Hop off, get your picture, walk around, hop back on the bike. And it's also a great conversation starter, again, when they see those out-of-state plates and you're riding. So everybody wants to, I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people want to talk to you when you're on that bike.
Our daughter's boyfriend rides a motorcycle, and he's actually a pretty regular listener to this show. So I'm sure this will be his favorite segment ever in the history of Eastern Panhandle Talk with Rob.
Hey, congratulations, Mario.
Oh, thanks.
So you help people essentially plot out their trip, get started with their bike, know where to stop. There's a lot of things that you may want to just grab a bike and go for a ride. But if you haven't done it before, you got to know where you're going and how you're going to stop. Do you spend a lot of your time camping along the side of the road, or you're staying in hotels?
I'm a hotel guy. I've got nothing against camping, but there's two reasons we don't camp. One, I like a nice bed. Mm-hmm. Two, we travel two up a lot, so it really doesn't leave a whole lot of extra space on the bike to carry camping gear and that sort of thing. So we just You know, Hampton Inns, Holiday Inn Express.
My daughter's told me there's a name for that person that sits behind the rider of the bike, but I can't say it on the air.
When I'm in my car, if it rains, I'm dry. If it's fairly cold, I'm warm. When you're on your bike, those options aren't the same, though. Nope.
If it's cold, you're cold. If it rains, you get wet. Now, we do have gear, like the outfit I have on today. It's got a rain liner in it. It'll keep you dry, assuming you're not going to ride all day long in a downpour. If it's cold, now I've got heated grips and a heated seat on my bike. But up until this past fall, even on the longest trips I did, you just suck it up and ride.
Deal with it. I've noticed as time has gone by, I see fewer riders on interstate highways. Interstate highways have become death traps, and it's hard enough in a car to navigate. Is that the reason why many motorcyclists stay off the interstates?
I think that's part of the reason. They have become more dangerous. The other thing is, no disrespect to the truckers, but we have a lot of trucks on the road. They create a lot of turbulence. They create blind spots on the bike. You're difficult
and
to see.
And they drive them like sports cars, and they weave in and out of the lanes way too fast with absolutely no regard for safety. Not all of them. I don't want to put all of them down.
Too late.
But
you already did.
No, I didn't. I said there's too many of them who do that. I want to be very clear on this because I don't want like 100 truckers.
A semi could come right through that wall.
Probably will.
Right through, Dave. Right at you.
Yeah, it's more fun on a state route, but yeah, I will say this: once you start to get out west on the interstates, they're not like they are here on the East Coast. Out west, first off, you've got trucks pulling 3 trailers behind them.
Yep.
And, they're moving along. But the speed limit out there in a lot of the parts of the country is 75, 80 miles an hour. People are rolling even faster than that. But it's not like you're in a lot of traffic. There were times where we were going through North Dakota this last year that I'd go 5-10 miles without seeing another vehicle.
North Dakota is the only state I've never been to. So,
oh yeah,
yeah, I need to go there sometime. I get nervous when I'm driving, and one of you guys come up, not tailgating me, just when I'm around you, because I feel like if I make a mistake, I'm going to really hurt you.
Sure.
So I get nervous when I'm around motorcycles. Nothing that what the motorcyclist is doing, just because I'm nervous that I don't want to hit them.
Well, we're a little bit harder to see. I try to make it, I try to stay out of your blind spot when I'm going to pass you, or, you get stuck out on the interstate in the left lane. I'm trying to pass you, but the guy in front of me slowed down. So try to stay there where you can see me, and try not to, come through an area too fast because I've had it where I've been out on the road in a car and some guy will go zooming by on a bike. I didn't see him. I heard him at the last second, but I didn't see him. And if I would have changed lanes, well, it would have been bad.
Do you think it's good or bad when the motorcyclist is in traffic and they go in between cars on the freeway? I mean, I know you fit, and I know it's legal to do. I mean, I'm not questioning the legality of it, but it seems so dangerous to me.
Well, technically, it's not. Well, technically, it's legal in California right now.
Oh, okay. That's where I'm from, so that's probably where I got that.
Before it was not illegal. They recently passed a law that makes it totally legal within certain, within certain rules. I think it's good at lower speeds, especially, I don't like sitting at a stoplight. Well,
it's one of the advantages of riding a motorcycle is that you can, sort of avoid a bumper-to-bumper traffic situation.
Yep. It's something that here in the U.S. we haven't embraced yet, but overseas, most countries, that's just the way it is.
Okay.
So I would like to see that more here, but I also think there's going to be a learning curve with both drivers and motorcyclists throughout the country before it makes it safer.
Should one take a lesson before they learn how to get on a bike?
If you've never been on one at all before, yes, okay. you should.
Should you start out with a smaller bike than, let's say, a big Harley and learn on a smaller bike, or just go right to the Harley?
I'm one that start on something smaller. I like dual sports to start on. Those are basically street legal dirt bikes because they're made to be dropped. So if you drop them, you're not going to hurt them. You're not going to cost yourself a lot of money. And then the other cool thing, they're light to pick back up.
Okay. So. Mario, good stuff, man.
Thank you.
All right, so I had a good time being on WRNR with Rob and Dave this morning. It was cool to see Judy stop by. I know you guys have never seen her before on the channel, but I've known Judy for a really long time. And she was one of the first to purchase a copy off of the book off Amazon.com, so it was nice to get to sign that for her this morning. Anyway, a little bit different type of video today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, I look forward to you being one. Can't wait to read your comments in the comment section below. And as always, I'll talk to you again soon.